Hey guys, welcome back to Spectra Creative. I'm your host, Scott Toy Guru Nightlick, and I want to talk today kind of about the state of the industry, and specifically, us, the adult action figure collecting market, because there's a lot of stuff going on that we're kind of talking about in sort of piecemealed all over the place, and I want to kind of bring it all together. So let's just be straight up. Prices. We know prices are getting outrageous, and despite the fact that people are saying it's toy companies just gouging us, I promise it's not. If toy companies were gouging you, they would go out of business. They're in business to make money and to sell product, and if they started selling it at outrageous prices, people would. Well, they are kind of selling it at outrageous prices, but not because they're making outrageous profits. And the nice thing is that Christopher Cox, the CEO of Hasbro, did an interview with Yahoo Finance a few weeks back talking about all this. So I can say it now without, trying to dance around any legal issues or give out any confidential information. Yes, action figures have a very, very low margin and a very low profit, operating profit as it's called. So they're basically put out a part of it as obligation, because when you sign a major license, if you want a license with a major IP holder like Marvel or DC or Lord of the Rings or Simpsons, well, maybe Simpsons aren't as A-list anymore, but you get my point. Let's just go with Marvel and DC and Star Wars. How about that? As three licensed properties, since Transformers and GI Joe and He-Man are owned, not licensed. So yeah, when you have a partnership with one of these giant licenses, you are required to put out product, whether or not you like it or not. I've done a video about this, and that's why you get things like so many toys for things like Eternals or Acolyte that aren't basically popular enough, if you will, that they kind of demand toys on their own. So the current prices and whether or not they're affected by upcoming tariffs, prices are only going to go up. They're not going to come down. I mean, look what we've seen since 2001 when 6-inch figures cost, $6.99, $7.99. Now they're $25. And they're probably about to make that $30 leap, if not before the end of the year, probably pretty quickly in 2026. This is all because of labor costs in China are going way up and royalties are going way up. I've talked about this before. Royalties back in 1978 was 1%. Now it's 23%. So, think of that. 1 penny for every dollar versus almost a quarter from every dollar is now going to the licensors. So, with that, it kind of makes me think, all right, my two big personal collections outside of Masters of the Universe, which is kind of complete, is the ones that are still growing, I guess, if you will, are Star Wars 3 3/4 and Marvel Legends, and I've been collecting them both since 2001 for Marvel Legends and 95 for Star Wars. So it's been like 30 years, and it makes me think, if you are just starting off, let's say you want to start collecting either of those brands, or DC, any of these A-list licensed brands, well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of brands changing, or licensing. We've already seen that with McFarlane, with DC going back to Mattel, and that's usually an indicator. When one major brand jumps like that, they're all going to jump in the next year or two. So with that, we can kind of expect most of our favorite brands to sort of start over again. And while that's great for new collectors, because it gives them a chance to get on board, it also provides an off-ramp for us older collectors who are kind of like, okay, I'm done. But more importantly, so, let's just take Marvel Legends, for example, right? I remember I bought my first X-Force figure from Marvel Legends Shatterstar in, I think, 2017. And when he came out, I said, oh, this is great. I'm going to start collecting X-Force, and in a couple of years, I'll have the whole team. Well, granted, here we are in 2025, and I'm still waiting for Feral, as all of us are. But the point is, what if you don't even have Shatterstar? If you want to start over, you want to start collecting, say, and I'm just, using X-Force Marvel Legends as an example, well, you'll always have the aftermarket. I mean, you can find Shatterstar on eBay or in comic book stores, but he's not going to be at retail. And that's kind of the point I'm making, is the last sort of 10 years have been this golden age for collecting. Yeah, prices haven't been the greatest, but character selection's been crazy good to all of us. And for Marvel Legends, I've acquired more Marvel Legends in the past 5 years than I've acquired in the past 25 years, if you will. So in one stance, it's been great that we've gotten so many characters out before prices got ridiculous. But I'm kind of thinking of future. Is there a next generation, if you will? Are there future toy collectors? If you're coming on board now, whatever brand you're getting into, the chance of that starting over at a low price is very slim at this point. You're now talking about collecting older figures. In a lot of ways, it's what's happened to the G.I. Joe 12-inch fans. They were very vocal, very big, and I think I'm going to make a whole video about this, but there weren't enough of them to keep the brand going. So Hasbro stopped making 12-inch G.I. Joe. So just because we're all passionate about getting something, it doesn't guarantee it's going to be made forever. And I think it's really interesting that, yeah, if you want to come on board now, in 2025, 2026, you're basically picking up most of your figures on the secondary market at exuberant prices. So what's a new collector to do? If a new collector comes in today and wants to start collecting whatever brand, they're for the most part going to eBay at this point, because new figures are so expensive and a good chunk of characters have been done. They're probably not going to revisit Shatterstar in his, his white and brown outfit. Again, I'm just using him as an example. But he was kind of a bell cow for me when I bought him. I was like, all right, this means I'm going to get all of X-Force in Marvel Legends. So that time is kind of past, and we're now living in a post-collector, like a postmodern collector time where characters have been done. Price points are now so high that a lot of us are kind of picking and choosing or thinking of being out. So what's the next generation going to do? Will there be toy collectors going forward, or were we kind of like the last hurrah of the toy collector? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you still collecting? Are you kind of edging your way out with prices and character selection the way they are? I'm really curious because I kind of want to follow what's going on in these trends. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. It's the best way to support this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.